All right, thank you guys very much. I really do appreciate you coming here. Can everybody hear me okay, as well as in the back? Everybody is good? Awesome. So, first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Brett Napoli. I'm the CEO and founder of a company in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in the United States called Ambition Insight. We specialize in WordPress web development, online consulting, branding, and online media. Basically how to grow and improve and help a business generate more money online. The name of this presentation today is called Taking Focused Action, Strategies to Grow Your Internet Presence Today. I'm going to start really wide, broad, and general, and then we're going to narrow down to very specific, very actionable takeaways that you can take and take action on today. The goal is to not only listen and absorb the information, but to actually go and do something after the presentation. There's always all this great information out there, but nobody ever takes that first step. So I encourage you to not only absorb it, but go and take action on it today. That is the mission, and that's the goal. And my mission today is not only that, but to provide you a tremendous amount of value. Now, if you feel like taking notes or anything, you don't need to do that. You can email me at the end, and I'm happy to deliver the slides to anybody. So just pay attention, absorb the information, and hopefully I can captivate your attention, bring you some value, and we can have a little bit of fun here. So I'm going to first start with 3 quotes. Great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. We are all emotional beings looking for relevance, context, and connection. And your business can't be something to everyone, it needs to be everything to someone. So today's lessons are as follows. Things to know in order to take action, how to generate and manage attention, 7 ways to grow your online presence, generating organic search traffic, social media strategy, Instagram essentials, Instagram growth, using influencers, and Facebook opportunities. So in order to take action, we first need to understand the purpose of marketing. The purpose of marketing is to instill subtle impressions that influence decisions later. In order to take action, we need to understand that the world's most valuable currency is attention. It does not matter what I have to sell you or how good it is. It does not matter if I'm the best in the marketplace. If I cannot first capture your attention, I cannot sell you anything. Attention is the #1 thing to focus on with any online marketing or growing any presence or growing any business. Captivate my attention first, and then you can sell me something. In order to take action, we need to know that you are a media company first. It doesn't matter if you're selling online dating services or clothing or pizzas. You are a media company first. You need to create rich, engaging, informative media that captures my attention first, and then you can sell me something. Think of yourself, does not matter what type of business you're in, you are a media company first. We also need to, in order to take action, we need to know and understand that the world's most valuable asset is time. We need to consider the Pareto principle, which is also known as the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule dictates that for many events, roughly 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. Figuring out how to focus on that 20% that's going to net you that 80% of results is the key. And learning and adapting to get better at that over time is how your business will continue to grow. In order to take action, we need to understand the difference between efficiency and efficacy. Efficiency, or being efficient, is achieving maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or expense. Efficacy, or being effective, is the ability to produce a desired or intended result, basically the execution of your business. It's very important to know the difference between these 2 things, but because we can't just be efficient if we're not delivering and executing on what it is that we're trying to accomplish. In order to take action and to be efficient, we need to know that time is incredibly valuable to both the business as well as the consumer. So take that in consideration with any move that you make. Consider the effort that is required before taking action. So for example, if you're going to post on Twitter and it's going to take up a lot of your internal time, consider the effort that's going to be required in order to do that before you go and take that action. Just taking action is not valuable. It's important to be efficient as well as effective. And again, you need to focus on your biggest opportunity and attack those biggest opportunities first. Whenever you consider any decision, can I capture attention? Do I take into consideration my time? And how do I focus on the biggest opportunities first and attack those first? In order to be effective, you need to have self-awareness, which basically is, in simple terms, knowing what you love and knowing what you are the best at. In order to be effective, you need to understand your edge or your advantage in the marketplace. How are you different? How are you better than the next person that's going to come up to bat? The way that I like to think of it is you don't want to go where there's competition. You want to avoid competition. You want to be able to monopolize your marketplace. You want to be able to monopolize the product or service that you provide. Search for the guaranteed wins. Don't just go where people are getting attention. Don't just go where don't just go where the competition is. Go where you can guarantee yourself wins every time. In order to take action, you need to have resolute self-awareness. That's self-awareness of both of yourself as well as your team and your business as a whole. Resolute means to be purposeful, determined, and unwavering. You know exactly what your business is, why it's great, and you continue to promote and pump that all the way throughout. And you don't waver from what it is what your greatest asset is. Do not waver. Again, focus on where you can monopolize and focus on your strengths. Having self-awareness is knowing your strengths, knowing the strengths of your business and where you have the edge in the marketplace. In order for you to monopolize on something or defeat every competitor that's there today and will be there in the future, you need to know where your strengths are at. Your strengths will help you understand your advantage versus your competitors, which will help you understand what your edge is, and that will allow you to be the most effective or have the most efficacy. Now let's talk about generating attention. In order to generate attention, you need these 5 things: authenticity and vulnerability. You need to demonstrate value. You need simplicity, you need distribution, and you need context. So authenticity and vulnerability. Basically, you need to stay true to yourself. This is where that self-awareness comes in. What about my service or myself or my business is the most valuable? How do I stay true to what I'm great at and not waver from that? Because that's what's going to generate and that's what's going to close the most deals. Does it appeal to my ideal customers' emotions and values? Again, authenticity and vulnerability. If you're staying true to your truth, chances are that somebody else is going to find a lot of value from that as well. Again, authenticity and vulnerability are extremely important. Next, you need to demonstrate value. Is this worth their attention? What's in it for me? The only thing that a consumer or a buyer cares about is what it's going to generate for them. It's not about me, it's about you. When I made this presentation today, I considered how can I give you guys the most value, because ultimately that's going to bring the most value back to me. Demonstrate value in order to generate attention. Next is simplicity. Essentially, you only want to communicate what is necessary to earn attention. Only communicate what is absolutely necessary to earn attention. Just communicating and just pushing things out there, you don't want to fill up your communication pipeline with fluff. You just want to do only what's necessary to gain that attention and then execute. Next is distribution. You need to create and you need to communicate on numerous platforms. That's both in person, that's on Instagram, that's on Facebook, that's on your website. That's everywhere and anywhere that you can speak to somebody where their attention already is at. Extremely important. Distribution is key, because it doesn't matter if you really like Instagram or if you really like YouTube or if you really like Facebook. If your consumers are there, you need to be there with them as well, creating context in that platform and capitalizing on the attention that they're already giving that platform. And the next is context. It's really important to know your audience and know what they want. This is extremely crucial. Why should they care? That's something that you need to pay attention to when you're creating for a specific platform. If I'm on Instagram and I'm consuming things that I'm looking to be entertained, I don't necessarily want to read a really long white paper or a lot of data. I want to be entertained. So consider the context of where you're delivering your message. The next is managing attention. In order to manage someone's attention, you need these 5 things: consistency, execution, adaptability, visibility, and volume. So for consistency, Consistency, let's use social media as an example, or posting on your website and creating blog posts. If you have a consistency to how frequently you post or how frequently you communicate, you can develop momentum. Because I know that every Monday or every Wednesday or every day at 7 o'clock, there's gonna be a new release, there's gonna be new content. Momentum snowballs someone's attention. Momentum creates reliability. Reliability means at 5 o'clock every day, I know that this guy or this gal is gonna post. And with momentum and reliability comes habit. And now it's a habit, and habits are hard to break. The next is execution. Really, it doesn't matter how much you can grab attention or how much you can yell. Your actions are always going to speak louder than words. So it's one thing to catch that attention. It's another thing to manage it. But the most important thing by far is to execute. So don't just talk about how great you are. Make sure that your product or your service is of the absolute highest value to the person whose precious time they've just given to you, or whose precious attention they've just allowed you to have. The next is adaptability. We can't be afraid to pivot or react to market signals and react to data. For example, if you're posting on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, read the comments, read what people are saying. Don't be afraid to adapt to what the data or what the market is telling you. You need to track all of the visits to your website, which pages get the most attention, which blog posts get the most attention. You need to make sure that you're reacting to those market signals as much as possible. The next is visibility. This is something I'm going to talk about a couple times in this presentation, and that is in order to master the ability to generate more attention, you need to document versus create. Document versus create. Instead of trying to create content or create media that you think is going to generate attention, simply document what is already happening. Document the day-to-day, document the back office, document what you're doing. If you were to simply record a 1-minute video of what happened in your business or in your product or service today, that would perform extremely well, and you'd be surprised how many people would be interested in what you're doing day to day. So instead of creating for attention, simply document what is happening. That documenting is really, really crucial. And also it kind of takes away the filter of not being true. Because if it's you and it's your face and it's your business being very true and honest about what's happening today, that's going to build that authenticity, and that's going to build that momentum, because you're constantly pushing out content. And again, if it's something that's true to you and what's happening day to day, I mean, what's more authentic than that? And the next is volume. You need to try to not only create content consistently, but also repurpose that content. A single piece of content can be chopped up and used in a variety of different ways. For example, you're noticing that I'm recording right here, as well as recording right there and recording right there. I can take the video of this presentation and I can make it into a long-form YouTube video. I can chop it up into individual videos or small segments that are going to create value that I can now post over time, create that momentum. I can take the audio from this video and I can turn it into a podcast. I can take that audio and I can incorporate it over other imagery or whatever and repurpose this video for a variety of reasons. I can take some quotes that I might have said in this conversation and make them into a quote graphic, post that quote on Twitter, post it on Instagram, post it on my Facebook page. I can turn all of those individual pieces of media that I've created now into social posts. There's a Facebook post about the new video. There's an Instagram post that talks about the audio. Or there's a YouTube video with a short clip that says, click here to watch the entire video. Repurpose and create constantly, and be repurposing that data as many ways as you possibly can. Create snippets and highlights of all the media that you create and push it out consistently over time. So here are 7 ways to grow your internet presence. It doesn't matter what kind of business you have. It doesn't matter if it's adult content or not. These are 7 proven ways to grow any internet presence or grow any business's exposure online. Website structure, website user experience, messaging and branding, on-site content, search engine optimization, off-site content, and social media. So when it comes to website structure, speed and performance. This is extremely crucial, especially today when everyone has a mobile phone in their pocket. In order to improve the speed and performance of your website, first consider reducing image sizes. This is where most websites kind of struggle. Reduce your image sizes or reduce quality so that the website can load faster. Consider things like video compression or using a CDN, also known as a content delivery network. This will allow your website content to be loaded faster and quicker. That way more people can digest and view your content and consume your content anywhere they are in the world with any device that they have. Always consider speed and performance first as the first structural improvement you can make to your website. Next is platform and software upgrades. It's important to stay on top of the latest technology in your industry. Don't just build up a website or build up an online presence and then let it languish. Make sure that you're always on top of what the latest and greatest software is so that you can, again, make sure that you execute on that speed and performance. In 2019, security is extremely important, so consider things like an SSL or a secure socket layer certificate for your website. Every single website having that secure lockup in the corner is going to not only verify and boost your visibility on platforms like Google, but it's going to tell the end user that you're a real business and that their information is secure and safe. Consider installing things like virus scanners or using software like Cloudflare on your website that will block or obstruct bad traffic or bad visitors to your website. That's ultimately going to slow that speed and slow that performance. And next is tracking. You should be installing Google Analytics, Facebook tracking pixels. You should be benchmarking the speed and performance of your website versus other competitors in your marketplace and constantly generating data for measurement. Using tools like Instagram accounts for business, Facebook Insights, Twitter Insights, and of course Google Analytics will allow you to constantly be generating data that you can then measure over time. It's not only important to be effective at pushing out new content, but you need to measure it so that you can set goals for how you can advance and grow the business moving forward. So next is the website user experience. Incredibly important. Calls to action, design and user flow, and mobile experience. So your website needs calls to action in as many places as possible. You should be constantly prompting your website visitor to do what you want them to do that's going to produce the most value for you and the most value for them. So for a lot of businesses, this is call me. Prompt them to call you constantly. Make sure that your phone number is in the top right corner. Make sure that it's a big red button. Make sure that it's visible. Constantly be calling me to do something or take action, and you're going to be able to capture the most leads and the most interest. They don't want to spend much time there. You want to just capture their information as quickly as possible. Prompt them to call, prompt them to send you an email, prompt them to sign up for something like a free newsletter, prompt them to register for an account or register for an account for a release that's coming later. Make sure that you're engaging them and you're convincing them to buy. Always focus on those calls to action. If they're not visible in as many places as possible on your website, you could be missing out on opportunities. Next is the design and user flow, and this seems pretty simple, but understand that the navigation of your website is going to determine which pages on your site somebody visits first. The page that is all the way over to the left on the top of your navigation bar is going to be the one that gets the most traffic. The one right next to it is going to get the most traffic after that. So put your products and services, put the things that are going to create the most value for the user in those positions. Don't have About Us be the first tab, because if that's not creating value for them, they're going to click it and you're going to waste that attention. Again, most people spend less than 2 minutes on any website. You have less than 2 minutes to capture their information, to get them to make a call to action, or to get them to view what's going to create the most value for them, and ultimately what's going to create the most value for you. Make sure that consider your font, make sure that it's easy to read. Consider the color and the style of your website. Does it create that perceived value that your end user is looking for? Make sure that it's simple and clean and that it has the visibility of key elements in focus. For example, when I walk into a clothing store, if they have a brand new line of sneakers that they just released, it is going to be on the table at the very front of the business. Get those key elements, your highest margin items, get those in the front so that they're extremely visible. And if it's really important, make sure that they're visible on every page and everywhere that they possibly can be. And next, don't be afraid to A/B test. Try a design of a structure and then change it a week from now, change it a month from now. Test and measure, and adapt. And lastly, consider the mobile experience. This is extremely crucial, as I'm sure everybody knows, in 2019. Make sure that your website is built for every type of device, as well as every type of browser. Make sure that on a device, whether it be a desktop computer, a tablet, or a mobile device, that the website is not only flexible, but it is usable and it is readable on every device and on every browser. It doesn't mean if the browser has a very small amount of users, it's important to appeal to the most possible people so you can create value for people wherever and however they choose to consume your content. The next is messaging and branding. So this is just how you communicate what your business is and why it's valuable. It could be on the web, it could be on a business card, it could be on a banner. It needs perceived value, meaning that it has to, the appeal of your business or the appeal, how it's gonna provide value for the end user. It needs to be clear, it needs to be obvious, and it needs to be simple. When you land on your website, it should tell me the most valuable thing that you can do for me right at the top, and it should be stupid obvious. Stupid obvious. A lot of people are just looking for the most obvious information, and only that. If you don't deliver it to them right off the bat, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. Next is your text and copy, and again, this doesn't matter if it's on a website or if it's on your Instagram or if it's on a printed banner. Make sure that it's easy to read, it's easy to understand, and try using shorter paragraphs. Give me small pieces of information that I can consume quickly so that I understand. Again, the most valuable thing to me as the consumer is my time. Next is you need to demonstrate value, and you need to do this quickly no matter how you're communicating with anybody, anywhere. It has to be informative, and it has to appeal to your customers' needs, appeal to their needs. It's not about what you have, it's about what they get. It's not about what you have, it's about what they get. Focus their attention, meaning when someone lands on your website or when they look at your banner or when they come to your presentation, focus them and push them to where you have the advantage, where you have the edge over the competition, where you are the greatest and you can provide the most value to them. And to use my example about the clothing store before, your highest margin items in the front. When you go to a restaurant and you look at a restaurant menu, that item that's going to be highlighted in bold or have a red box around it or be at the top of the sandwich list, for example, is probably going to be the one that you go and buy because it's focusing my attention on what you do the best. If it's your best sandwich or your best pizza or your best piece of software or whatever, focus the user's attention on what's going to bring them the most value and where you have the greatest advantage. Always put the highest margin items in the front. Now for on-site content. In simple terms, add more text and add more images to your website consistently and constantly over time. This could be in the form of blogs, infographics, white papers, or studies and analysis. A really interesting thing that a lot of people kind of don't see value in, but your users see value in, is just making studies and analysis of how people behave with your content. Telling people which pages on your website are getting the most hits, which type of post that you post on Instagram are getting the most attention. Giving studies and analysis of your own content, for example, can be valuable to an end user. You don't know what's going to provide value to them, so just push out everything that you have, as long as you think it could provide value. Consider doing deep dives on your website and creating long tail content. So try making very, very specific, very targeted content that will provide tremendous value to a specific person or a specific search. For example, dating advice for introverted men after a breakup. It's not just dating advice, it's not just dating advice for men, it's for introverted men after a breakup. Now think about if you were to search on Google for that specific string and you found an article with that title, how tremendously valuable that would be, because it's exactly what I'm looking for. It's not going to appeal to everybody, but it's going to appeal to somebody in a tremendous way. So again, think about that very, very specific person, that very specific search. Try not to always be broad, try to be very specific. And if you're constantly adding more content and constantly adding more media, that can appeal to somebody in a huge way. In addition to that, that string or that search term is going to get them in, and then they can go consume the rest of the stuff on your website. Consider creating content on your website that's going to generate recurring visits. You don't want me to come just one time, you want to capture my attention consistently over time. So consider adding things like a calendar of recent events, a forum where people can engage, comment, create content, and be part of the conversation. Consider things like giving them the ability to contribute or submit information or write their own blog post or submit an op-ed, for example, like they do in the newspaper. Consider offering things like free downloads or maybe industry news, things that are going to, again, create that habit and that reliability where I'm going to come back to your website and consume content consistently over time. And lastly, consider incorporating things like e-commerce, using websites like Shopify, for example, or using drop shipping or white labeling other people's services, again, to get people to your site and provide them value while also creating additional value for you or additional value for the business. You can consider selling things like apparel, affiliate products and services, or lead generation. Maybe generate a specific type of lead, and then you can sell those leads to other people. So if I get you to my website for a very specific thing, but there may be another thing that complements my business, I can capture those leads and then sell them to somebody else that might be able to find value from them. That finds value for me, the business, that finds value for the user because they're connected to what they want, and it also creates value for the other business that's going to be buying those leads from you. Next is search engine optimization. So search engine optimization is basically these 5 things: keyword targeting, long-tailed keywords, internal links, external links, and earning inbound links. So when it comes to keyword targeting, your website should have 3 focused keywords or 3 key phrases that you can essentially summarize your entire business in these short, poignant thoughts. The best example that I give for coming up with keyword targeting is using the example of a lawyer versus an attorney. A lawyer can practice law, but doesn't necessarily practice day to day. They're registered and they're licensed to, but they don't necessarily practice law. Whereas an attorney is an active person that is practicing law regularly, that represents other people. An attorney doesn't like being called a lawyer because they're out there practicing. However, if you go online and you type in a Google search, lawyer versus attorney, most people are going to think to type in lawyer. They don't know that small difference. So by understanding what people are typing in, I can now target people based on what they're already looking for. So don't be as as specific as to say I have to be referred to as an attorney. Simply go where people are looking and trying to find you. The next is long tail keywords, creating very specific targeted content, as I had said before. Internal links. So this is just simply linking to other parts of your website. At the end of a sentence or at the end of a paragraph, prompt them to go over to the contact us page and fill out the contact form. Lead them to another part of your website where you can provide more value. Create an internal linking structure from page to page of things that are going to be related so that you essentially hold the hand of the consumer and lead them around your website where you want them to go. And this also will improve your time on site. If I'm spending more time on your website, you've captivated more of my attention, and thus I'm providing you more value. External links. Consider linking to as many valuable resources as you possibly can that you don't compete with. So link to pages on Wikipedia, link to other news articles and news items that are going to provide value to that end user. Consider those external links and giving value and gas to other websites that you don't compete with at any time, and that's going to help your search engine optimization. And next, earn inbound links. So if you're creating content regularly, if you're creating new blog posts, if you're creating valuable videos, if you're creating valuable images, you can earn inbound links or earn links from other websites or businesses by creating value on your site, sharing it and distributing it with other people that share great content, and then asking them for backlinks back to your content. Next is off-site content. This could be in the form of guest posts, so going on websites like Medium or going on other industry news publications that talk to your potential customer and creating guest posts or creating value for them and for their visitors. Creating guest posts on other websites will allow you to earn those backlinks, and you can capture attention that other people already have and bring it back to your website. On forums, you can lead and contribute to a discussion where other people in the industry are talking about something that's valuable to you or valuable to your products and services. Next is commenting and engaging. Go to other websites and improve the conversation one-to-one. Reply to every Instagram comment, reply to every retweet, reply to every comment on your Facebook post. Constantly engaging and building those one-to-one conversations at any point. And next, the most obvious one is real life. And you guys already get this one. Going to networking events, going to conferences, mixers, classes, and seminars, learning and telling people about what you have to offer and telling people about all the great value that you provide on your site. Okay, next we're going to talk about social media. Now, in the interest of time, we're going to specifically focus on these 3 things: Instagram, influencers, and Facebook. Now, you should have a strategy for probably all of these platforms, but again, we have to consider 80-20. What is going to be the most effective? Instagram and Facebook just happen to be where the most attention is. So naturally, those are the things that I'm going to talk about because I think it's going to create the most value for you. Instagram, influencers, and Facebook. YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, you should probably have a strategy for all of them. But again, where's the lowest hanging fruit? Where can you capture the most value quickly? So here's kind of like the basic essential Instagram guide. For your username, Quite simply, make it memorable, make it easy to spell, avoid underscores. Make it so that I can easily tell somebody else, or I can be in conversation and somebody's gonna be able to find my page simply and easily. Consider your profile photo as a way to generate traffic to your page. Make sure that it's recognizable, it's clear, and it's bright. Don't be far away in the picture. Maybe consider using something like an orange or a yellow background, something that's gonna jump out, something that's recognizable for you and is clear and is bright. When it comes to your bio on your Instagram page, make sure that it's informative. Don't make it vague and gray. Tell me exactly what you do, and again, highlight your most valuable items and what you can bring to that potential user. Make sure that it's informative, it highlights your value, and it highlights the advantages that your business has in the marketplace. And again, and also include emojis and hashtags in your bio. Emojis kind of just make it a little bit more interesting. They add a pop of color to an already kind of boring black and white description. And then hashtags will allow you to capitalize on the most valuable hashtags that exist on Instagram. So for example, hashtag dating, hashtag real estate. And a lot of people will find or follow your profile simply based on the fact that you have those hashtags in your bio. Because if it appears in your bio, that kind of says that your entire page is about that theme versus an individual post. Next is for creating Instagram posts themselves. So try not to be too salesy. So many people are pumping the sale. Here's what I got for you to buy. Here's what I got for you to buy. Remember that your posts, much like your website, much like your blog posts, much like your conversations day-to-day, one-to-one, don't be pushing the sale. Be focusing on being informative and providing value. Being informative and providing value. Think about their time, their attention, and the value for them all the time. Don't push the sale. They will find the sale if you've done everything else right. Consider obviously posting Instagram images, videos, and then groups of images and videos. Don't be pigeonholed into only posting photos. Don't only post videos. Create a mix. That way you can understand the balance of what people want to consume. If videos get more action than images, post more videos. If groups of videos get more action than individual videos, post more of those. Again, constantly testing and seeing what people are reacting to. Consider a simple way to create additional content on Instagram is using quotes. There's an iPhone and cell phone app called WordSwag. Really cool free application that allows you to quickly and easily create quote posts for your Instagram page. These can be repurposed obviously on any social media, but it's a cool way of kind of taking the graphic design and putting it right on your phone and making it simple and easy and quick. Consider downloading WordSwag and using quotes. People like quotes, they're easy to consume, they're easy to share, and they're just fun to read and consume on Instagram. Next, consider posting screenshots as well as memes. Again, we always want to consider the context. What are people doing on this platform and how can we engage them? What are they going to be the most interested in? Post things that are funny, post things that are entertaining, and consider posting screenshots of either websites that you looked at that you liked or screenshots of people commenting or messaging you, and just make them part of the conversation. And of course, always test and measure. When it comes to creating captions or captions underneath your images, you want them to be descriptive about what the photo is and why I should care. Again, capture my attention. Give context as to why. Don't just take a picture of a mountain, say, I hiked 5,000 steps to get up this mountain at 3 o'clock in the morning and I reached the summit and here's what it looked like. Don't assume that they know what you're posting about inherently. Be very descriptive and give context to why they should care about this piece of media that you're giving them. And consider long-form text captions. Because Instagram is so quick and simple, and I'm looking at images or videos that are short form, it's not often that you see very long captions. So take a blog post that you wrote and include most of that blog post in that caption. These are gonna draw someone's attention because they don't see those things as frequently on Instagram. And of course, include hashtags and emojis on as many posts as you possibly can and captions of all of your images and videos. Now, when it comes to Instagram videos, you should be creating stories. And as I talked about before about the difference between documenting versus creating, you should be documenting the day-to-day happenings. You should be taking a video of this presentation. You should take a video of yourself talking about why this was valuable for you. You should take a video of your thoughts as you move around throughout the day. Constantly creating and pumping content and pushing out volume that could potentially create value for others. Document the day-to-day and don't be afraid to turn the camera around on you. And it doesn't matter if your business is If your business is this big conglomerate with thousands of employees, have your marketing person or your social media person turn the camera on them so they get that human, authentic connection, and just speak directly to them and simply be honest and true, because people appreciate that type of content a whole lot more than they appreciate well-polished, perfectly cut, perfectly finalized, long-form, beautiful content. Sometimes that rough thing of you in your hotel room just talking about your day will be of a tremendous value to someone. It builds that authenticity, it builds that context, and it builds that real connection. And remember, we're always searching for that real context, that real connection. When you make a new post on your Instagram, share it to the story. That's going to make it urgent. That's going to let them know that there's less than 24 hours to consume this content, and it's going to lead them back to your profile page where they can view that post. When you create your story, make sure that you save them to your highlights. So every single day when you create all of your stories, save them in those highlights so that people can go and consume them later. You capitalize on the urgency of the fact that this content's going to go away, but then you save it for later so they can consume it at a later time. It also will allow you to go and save that content yourself and then repurpose it and put it together at a later date. You should create a formatting and a name structure for your Instagram highlights so that it's consistent. So every single day, for example, you make a specific title or a specific way that you refer to your videos. Think of it like episodes of a TV show. Classify each one in an organized naming structure. That way you build that reliability, you build that context, you build that consistency, and then your user now has a habit that they can follow. They know exactly what they're gonna get when they take their precious time and click that button on your page. And next, consider sharing tagged posts from fans. You'll see a lot of big Instagram accounts doing this. So when somebody posts about you, or when someone's at your conference, like if somebody was to take a picture of me and say, this was a great presentation today, I would share that on my Instagram. So now you feel part of the conversation, you feel like you were there, I'm sharing and showing love to you, and I'm giving a little bit of the attention that came to my account back to you. So always be sharing and involving the one-to-one conversations, because we don't know the value of the person on the other end of that post. Sometimes people will complain like, my Instagram post only gets 1 like, or my video only got 1 view. Well, what if that 1 view was Oprah? You don't know the value of an individual person, who they know, what they know, and who they're connected to. There can be tremendous value in the individual. So 1,000 views or 1,000 likes or 1,000 anything does not necessarily equate the same for every type of business. So don't worry so much about the numbers, just be worried about maybe reaching that one individual person and the tremendous value that their network can potentially create for you. When it comes to Instagram videos, save your completed stories. The way that I do this on Instagram is I save stories at the end of the day. So an entire day will be 1 story. There's a cell phone app called Story Cutter. It's about a $5 app, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to save all of your Instagram videos to your phone and then chop them up into 60-second increments so that you can post it then on your Instagram in full form. So use Story Cutter to save your stories down, compress them into a long-form video, and then post it on your Instagram account. And then you can also merge that video and post it on YouTube, or post it on Facebook, or post it wherever the attention of your customer might be. Then try chopping up your stories. There's a lot of video editing apps on a cell phone that anybody can use. Take a 5-minute video and try to condense it down to 60 seconds or 2 minutes. Cut out the slow points where you might be taking a breath or maybe repeating something you had said before, and kind of make a highlight reel of your stories of the day. Again, repurposing and recreating and generating more content and more value. I may not be willing to give you 6 minutes of my time, but I may be willing to give you 1 minute. So if you don't deliver and produce a piece of media that I can potentially consume, then you may have lost me. You may have lost me as a potential buyer or as a potential lead. Now also consider using a cell phone app called Insta Repost. This will allow you to repost content, repost videos, or repost images from other accounts. So you can take a really, really popular viral video, for example, and repost it to your account while giving credit to that account. You're producing value for the person that comes to your page because it's more great content, and you're also giving love to the person that posted it. Consider doing things like adapted viral videos. I've seen this happen a lot lately. So for example, let's say that you're a music artist and you have a new song that's released. There was a popular viral video of Kanye West that just came out the other day of him dancing in this drum beat circle with a bunch of different people. I saw a lot of music artists take that video, dub out the audio of whatever song he was playing, and put their own music in there. And it's like, hey, here's Kanye loving my new track. So consider adapting viral videos and using something that people already like and something that they're already consuming that they recognize, and change it and make it specifically about you or your business. Entertaining, informing, and providing more value to your end user. And next, consider making commercials and running commercials constantly. You should always be buying advertisement. There's a really amazing site called waymark.com. Absolutely love this site. It helps you make very short, less than 60-second Instagram videos and commercials quickly and easily. The videos are about $99 a piece, and any single person can edit them and make them from here in this room. It allows you to change the text, incorporate your own photos, and incorporate your own videos. Super, super crucial tool. Allows you to make really, really polished commercials and really polished delivery of your content quickly and easily. Waymark.com, awesome website. And you know how they got my attention? I was scrolling through the Instagram feed and they advertised in that feed. And to me, if a company that helps you make engaging Instagram ads caught my attention on an Instagram ad, there's the value. So Instagram growth, this is 2 parts. Use hashtags in your bio, quite simply. Use hashtags in your bio. Generally the most valuable or broad hashtag that you can use, like hashtag real estate, hashtag dating, for example. Use location tagging. Tag the hotel you're in, the city that you're in, tag the largest area that's near where you're making that post, because a lot of times people will simply follow what's happening at that conference or what's happening at that event or what's happening in that location, especially when people are flying into a new location or visiting. Always hashtag in your posts, and also remember to hashtag inside your stories on Instagram. This is a fairly unused practice that can generate a lot of additional gas to your Instagram stories. And also, as stories grow in prevalence and popularity, this is going to become more and more valuable over time. Also consider hashtagging current events, like hashtagging this conference, for example, or hashtagging Coachella, the largest music festival in the United States. Consider hashtagging a current event or jumping on board a current event using that hashtag by making content maybe that would be related to it or based around it. And you're going to get gas of people looking at that content now coming to you. Always remember that on Instagram you need to entertain. So use things like music and use things like filter, put funny glasses on yourself. Even if you're telling me something that's extremely serious and specific, make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it engaging, make me care about it. Entertain me. Consider the context of where I'm consuming that content. And again, document, don't create. I can't stress this enough. Document what is happening day to day. Turn the camera on you and simply document every single thing that's happening. Your thoughts, the things that you did today. There is unforetold value in you simply documenting what is going on every day. I cannot stress that enough. So many of us are afraid of, what will people think, or what if it only gets a couple of views? You don't know the value of a single view. We do not know the value of what's going to happen if we simply document versus create. And documenting versus creating is going to give you that authenticity, and it's also going to allow you to produce a tremendous amount of volume. That volume is the consistency, the momentum, getting people to come back to your page for more, for more, for more. Always just pumping out new content that's effective and valuable to your end user. Next, this is some other key things for Instagram growth. Now, one of the best tactics that a lot of people don't talk about is following competitor and related accounts and following their followers. So for example, let's say that I have an electronic dance music blog, which I do. I'm going to go to every other electronic dance music blog that exists. I'm going to look at who's following them, and then I'm going to follow those people. Go to your competitors' Instagram accounts and follow their followers. That 10 seconds that you're gonna get of them seeing you follow them is gonna capture their attention. They're gonna go to their page, and if you create value for them, why would they not follow you? You know that they're already interested in the type of things that you're creating and that you're pumping. Again, respond to your comments. So many accounts don't do this, but that one-to-one connection, that one-to-one authenticity, simply commenting and responding to every person that comments on your page that takes a minute out of their day, you can build a lifelong fan by simply commenting and replying to as many people that comment on you. And also, if you notice that a certain person or a certain account is consistently commenting on your account, go over to their account, like their posts, like their videos, and comment on their content. It's going to allow you to capture just a little bit of that attention that they're getting and bring it then back to yourself. Follow popular hashtags that are related to your business so that you can kind of feel the pulse of what's happening in your industry and the way that people are consuming the way people are consuming content around your business. And then if you haven't already, take your Instagram account and make it an Instagram for business account. That way you can use precious analytics, city and location data, time of day data, and you can understand more about your visitors and why they're there. And then I can't stress this one enough, also buy paid ads. Social media advertising is probably the most underpriced attention on the internet today, and there's tremendous and unforetold value in buying those video ads, because there's a lot of Fortune 1000 companies that are missing the mark on this and are not investing in social media because they can't measure the ROI. Those ads are going to get more and more expensive over time. Buy and scoop up as many of those paid ads, especially on Instagram, as you can right now, because you're going to be kicking yourself in the years to come if you didn't buy those super inexpensive ads right now. And the last thing for Instagram growth, and definitely not the least, this might be the most valuable, is to utilize influencers. Influencers on social media, especially on Instagram, can create explosive value. Just simply do a Google search for Instagram influencers and you'll see constant stories and examples of how influencers have grown massive companies by simply allowing you to capitalize on someone that's already getting attention. So, how do I find an influencer? Go to all of the Instagram accounts that might be that might be of interest to people in your target demographic or your target customer, your ideal customer. Look for the terms DM or promo available in their bio as well as in their individual posts. If they offer promo, message them and ask them how much for a post, how much for a shout out, how much to tag my business. They are grossly underpricing that attention right now. And it's the Wild Wild West. There's any person that's running an Instagram account out of their bedroom that might have 150,000 followers. They may sell you a post on their page for $50. There is unforetold tremendous value in that. So find an influencer that is going to be of interest to the people that might want to buy or consume your content or your products or services, and message those people. Make sure that they appeal to the target demographic of who you are trying to reach. Then once you find those influencers and you've gotten them to agree and they're willing to share your post for a small amount of money, here's what you post. Create in the context of what they already post. If they're already posting a lot about fashion, send them something that's going to be related to fashion. If they're posting funny memes or funny videos, make a funny video that may be about your content. Try to add content that's going to seamlessly integrate with what they already have. That way the end user is not confused and it stays in context for what they're already expecting to consume. It's also going to make that influencer more likely to post your content for a lower amount of money, because their audience is still going to be engaged. They're still going to find value. They're still going to see, they're not going to feel like they're getting this salesy post that's out of the norm. So again, add value to their followers. Always consider who's going to get the most value of what you share. Send influencer products or samples or access to your product or service and say, hey, dive in there and use it. If you're executing at the highest level, simply giving it to somebody that might find interest in it could be the most valuable thing that you could do, because once they use it, maybe they'll start posting it or sharing it for free. You never know. So product reviews or having that influencer feature your product or your service in their own photos or in their own videos is of tremendous value. And lastly, quantify that value by measuring it and then repeating it. So many of us will do something, have it work, and then never do it again. Repeat. If you find a great influencer that generates a lot of buzz for you, keep pushing it and measuring it as you go along. Because again, that attention is grossly underpriced right now, and these influencers are the key to growing these businesses in a really explosive way. And then in addition to that, while you're using these influencers and while you're creating content and while you're documenting everything, run ads simultaneously. Run ads that they're not only going to see that post on their Instagram account and they're going to see the post that you made, but now they're going to see an ad as well. Now you might have shown up in 3 separate places on their feed right in a row. You're grabbing that attention, you're providing them value, and you're staying visible constantly. And then of course, test it and measure it. Now, this is just kind of a brief overview of Facebook. These are what I think are probably the most crucial parts of a Facebook page or a Facebook account. First is Facebook groups. This is probably one of the most undervalued attention on Facebook that you can get. Join Facebook groups of people that are already talking about things that are related to your business or related to your product or service. Join those groups and contribute to the conversation. Add that one-on-one conversation and post things that are going to create value for that group. There are tens of thousands of people in those Facebook groups, hundreds of thousands of groups all over the world, and there's insane attention in those. Mommy bloggers, for example, have huge Facebook groups where they all follow and communicate with each other. So jump in those Facebook groups, become part of the conversation, and capitalize on that value. Next, take all these videos that you're creating and use Facebook video. This is going to become more and more of a prevalent part of Facebook's structure, and they're trying to over-index video because that's where a lot of the attention goes. So posting Facebook video is going to provide a lot of value for you because Facebook wants to promote more video. Thus, they're going to promote your videos higher up because the users are more engaged that way. Next is use boosted posts on Facebook. Buy ads, buy ads, buy ads, and buy ads. You can also use what are called targeted audiences on Facebook. This is probably the most valuable thing that Facebook provides. What it allows you to target very specific audiences that you can then save for later. You can target 20 to 30-year-old males that live in Florida that are interested in basketball. And you can target a specific audience both on your Facebook page as well as on your Instagram ads. So use those super highly targeted audiences and then repeat and measure the performance of advertising at those targets. On your Facebook page, don't be afraid to repost or share other Facebook pages' content, always considering the value that you're creating for the end user. Make sure that you have a professionally made profile banner that includes all of your information or highlights your valuable products or services, and remove the excess sections on Facebook so that when someone comes to their page, if they click to a section like events, that you actually have events there. If you don't have them, remove those excess sections so that nobody is wasting time, because we know how valuable their time is. Now, these are just kind of some broad overview things about when you're posting on social. Remember, there is no perfect content. There is never perfect content. Create value and produce volume. Capture their attention by entertaining them and informing them. This doesn't matter what social network you're posting on, entertain and inform. Use context, create for the platform. Don't just take what you post on Instagram and post it on Facebook and just post it on Instagram. Consider the audience and the context of how they're consuming content on that platform. Again, consistency creates the momentum, which creates the habit. You want your end user or your potential buyer to create that habit where they're constantly going to consume something from you because they're expecting it there and it's providing them value. And of course, try new things and react to signals. Read every comment, read every repost, read what people are talking about and engage. Do not be afraid to pivot and react to those signals. And focus on the one-to-one conversations. Those individual relationships and those individual conversations are of tremendous value. And last but not least, actually care about the person that's on the other end. Consider their time and that they've given you their attention, and care about them, because that's gonna translate in every message that you push out. So here are the key takeaways from the presentation. Always consider attention and time in everything that you do. Remember that you are a media company first. Make sure that you're not only effective, but also efficient. Double down on your strengths and make sure that you're constantly pushing where you have the edge in the marketplace. Be authentic and vulnerable. Stay true to yourself, stay true to your business. Don't go to where the attention, don't go to where you think might generate attention. Stay true to your business, be self-aware, and post what you know is going to create value. Don't chase the attention elsewhere. Be authentic and vulnerable, be unwavering, and have resolute self-awareness. This is key. If you don't like being on the other end of a video and you don't think you're going to do well that way, maybe it's audio. Record a podcast. There are plenty of people that maybe do not appear in video or don't take great photos or don't know how to write great blog posts that kill it on audio. So again, be self-aware and know where you have strength. Don't try to do what you think needs to be done. Simply do what you are great at and where you can create tremendous value. Take focused action immediately. Do what you learned today and here at this conference and in your conversation, and take action immediately. It's one thing to listen. It's another thing to actually go and do something. So I would encourage everyone, if they don't already do it, go on Instagram, post in your stories. Go on Instagram Live, talk to people. Go on Facebook Live and just turn it on. You'd be surprised once the camera turns on you, how you just kind of jump to the occasion, how you'll kind of realize exactly what needs to be done at that exact moment. Challenge yourself by just taking focused action immediately. And of course, the first couple things that you do are going to suck. There's no doubt about that, but you're gonna get better over time and it's just gonna continue to improve. But you cannot do that if you first don't take action. Document versus create. Seriously, document everything that you can. Take the video of what you're thinking about now and blast it out. You don't know where somebody can create value from that. And lastly, learn, always adapt to the signals that are coming in and have fun with it. If you're having fun, they're going to have fun and it will translate. That authenticity, that vulnerability, that constant communication. You having fun means they will have fun and that will be how you win all of the time. And lastly, if you want more help or if you want to talk about your website or if you are interested in my services, I'm offering a special for any of the conference attendees for $3,000 worth of services for only $19.95. If you're interested in having these slides, please feel free to email me, brett@ambitioninsight.com, and I'm more than happy to send the slides directly to you. I'm going to be here all weekend. Feel free to come up to me, ask me any question that you possibly want. Email me, text me, call me, respond to me on Instagram. I'd be more than happy to help or talk to anyone that I can create value for. And last, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention so much. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for experiencing this with me. Follow me on Instagram @BrettNapoli. And again, thank you so much for your precious attention. I appreciate it. Thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. If not, enjoy the rest of the conference. And again, thank you. And feel free to ask me any questions at any time throughout the rest of the conference. Thanks again.